Okay, hi. So this is going to be my attempts to solve these problems for Alliant International University's class on creative thinking. So I don't know how long these are going to take me, so I'll try to move through them as quickly as I can. So number one, using the figure below, give yourself 5 minutes to create something from it. Okay, so 5 minutes is pretty long. So my first impression of this, I don't want to go with my first impression, but this looks to me like it could be kind of like how a dove is traditionally represented. So this, particularly like the beak up here on the top. So my eraser's not the best, unfortunately. I don't want to just follow my first instinct, so I want to be a little bit more creative because I have 5 whole minutes. So instead of just going with a bird, or the dove specifically, let's just take a moment and think. I think this could maybe be a system of waves, potentially. I think that might be a little bit tricky though, because then there won't be very much else in the drawing. I also maybe see like what could be wrapping around petals on some sort of flower, but I think that might be a little bit basic as well. So I'll give this one more second just to think about it. And hopefully my erasing goes okay. You know, it's kind of interesting when I look at this again. Originally I saw a face up here on the top, but I also see kind of a face lower down. And that reminds me of a really famous optical illusion, which this kind of reminds me of, which was like the old woman in the front and then the young woman in the back. Hopefully the professor might know the optical illusion I'm talking about. It's actually quite famous. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try to do that with another kind of either dolphin or bird here. So I'm going to go ahead and give this kind of a swooping beak and then a head. And then I'm going to give I guess we'll go with the bird here. So I'm going to give it a curved body. And then, again, I'm definitely not an artist. So I'm going to give my bird a wing as well. So every bird needs a wing. And then he needs, or she needs, feathers, right? So here's my bird, and this is kind of its big beak in the front here. And this is its eye, if that wasn't clear. So I want to kind of play off that. So kind of an interesting cartoonish bird, and then I need to give him or her something to do. So I'll draw scenery here. So we have the sun coming out. Definitely I would not pass art school. And let's see, birds, they can eat seeds. I think I had kind of more of a tropical, maybe seabird in mind to measure this. So I'm going to draw his or her meal on the bottom, which is just going to be a little fish. So the fish gets to be sad because the bird picked it up. So that is going to be my scene. So again, I went with a different bird than the original bird that I saw, just because it was a reference to another optical illusion I know. So I'll call this The Old Bird and the Sea. Kind of a reference to Hemingway, a little bit there. That's a great book. Okay, so let's just move on to number 2, because I don't want to take up the professor's time. So divide this figure into 4 equal parts that are the same size and shape. So this is super interesting to me because I do tutor a lot of math. So the first thing I see right away is it's really easy to make this 3 equal in size, but that means it's actually going to be super hard to make this 4. Because if it's divisible by 3 that simply, then 4 is most likely going to be a good bit harder. I think what's actually tricky with this one is the use of the word shape, because mathematically speaking, getting these to be the same size would be very easy. We just need a ruler, and then we could measure out various distances, and that'd actually be, I think, nearly unlimited combinations, but shape is really tricky here. So one thing that comes to my mind a little bit, having done some puzzles before, is to make this the same shape. I know that I see there's squares in this, so let's try triangles, because triangles make up half of squares. Let's just try this. It's a little bit off where I wanted it. So the problem with this, that's not all of it. Let's try one more. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the problem here is they're not the same size. These two are bigger. These two are, I have 2 of each that are the same size, but they're not the same size with each other. So that's kind of a bummer, because I was hoping that would be a nice and simple fix, but that's not the answer. So let's try a couple more here. So maybe we could try to make strips somehow. The only challenge with this is going to make them the same shape. So 1, 2, I can just see right away there's no way that's going to work, because if I try to work that way, I have to work vertically or horizontally, and I'm just not going to get the same shapes that way. So that's going to be a bust. So I can't really use straight blocks or strips. So I'm going to keep trying this. So what if I kind of took the same idea I had before, which was to use this line, and then what if I did like this? Ooh, this is tempting. The only thing here is they're very similar. I think mathematically we might call these similar proportionally, but they're not actually the same height, unfortunately. So this is a really good try, I think, but not quite right, so I'll have to keep going. So let me just think. My problem is every time I do this, it's not like an equally dispersed shape. So maybe what I'll have to do is come up with kind of a unique shape, since the shape itself is an upside down L. So what if we try actually making this into smaller L's? So that would be something like, actually kind of use some of the lines I've been drawing here. So I'll try this and see if it roughly is correct. So that's 1, and I can kind of create an inside one here, and then I have one more here. And I think that is going to be the answer. My drawing's not perfect because I'm not the best artist again, but this I can clearly see is meant to be the answer. It's 4 L shapes making up the bigger L shape. Okay, so now we have another problem, which is the candle problem. So using the materials on the table, a cardboard box of thumbtacks, matches, and a candle, figure out how to attach the candle to the wall above the table so that the wax does not trip on the table. Okay, my first thing here is, ooh,